Hello, hello! Welcome to episode 61 of the Lorethrough, and today we will be doing Sellia, Town of Sorcery, and hopefully finding out its secrets. So interestingly enough, we have not seen anything quite with architecture like this. The closest we've gotten is probably the Academy of Raya Lucaria, but it's still different. It's beautiful architecture, really, if you don't count the pockmarks of the rot that has afflicted it, or the skull on the cliff behind it. But we will head into the town anyways and see what we can find out. So we come in here and we already see nodes of glintstone. We can even summon Lutel to help us out. And we have sorcerers. Ghostly looking ones, right? Are they puppets? Are they ghosts? Is this simply a part of their magic? Intriguing to say the least. But it looks like it was quite the town. Lots of unique structures. But a lot of it has come to ruin. Crushed. Was it destroyed because of the war? Was it destroyed because of these roots growing throughout it? We see failed sorcerers about the place. Faded earthly flowers. We have Lazuli. We have Lazuli sorcerers here. I don't know what I parried that broke his guard though. There we go. Horrible thing. And as we explore the town itself, we find these seals. And Gowri warned us about these seals, right? Oh, hold on. There we go. So let's take a look at what that note said. The town of Sellia hides the source light 3 flames atop the candle towers to break the seal. And, well, there's a tower there. And there could be more throughout the place, so let's start looking for ways to get up on towers. I think there's just a Mikola lily back here, so interesting that they seem to be guarding that. I didn't realize that you could bring a summoned spirit here to help you deal with all the trash. We have a twin sage here, supposed to be a bit stronger of a sorcerer. Wow, botched that entirely. Oh, we have one of them flying marionettes, now dead. And here we have a painting. Sounds like there's more marching marionette soldiers. We can grab that. Redmane painting. And it looks like of a red vista, some arches, and Redmane Castle. Though we haven't seen arches like that quite yet. It does give us a clue, though. It must be in our notes. Here it is. Work of a wandering artist, reminiscent of a painting titled... Remnants of a painting titled Redmane. So the painting's over there. This is the remnants in our inventory. This painter is said to have captured the landscape seen during the last moments of those welcomed into death's embrace. The soul of the painter and the vestiges of the dead's last moments can be discovered by visiting the location depicted even now. So that is something we will need to get to. Here we have another seal, so we've found 2 of them, right? And going along down there, down this set of stairs, that's the grace we've already grabbed. And over here is the 3rd seal. Oh, shucks. Very rude. It looks like they can't be frostbitten, so it makes me wonder if they are spirits. I guess they could be puppets. Or maybe it just takes a lot more frost. There's another seal there. And I believe if we go along the outside over here, there's an even bigger seal there. So there's 4 seals, but we've been warned that the secret has to deal with 3 towers. Golden seed. I think we finally have enough for another one. Thankfully. Another flask charge, I should say. And if we go along this route over here, and go up it a little bit, we can jump onto this rot, and here we are on our first tower. So going up the tower, we see these reliefs on either side. They are floral patterns of some variety. And it kind of looks like the same coloration that we see on wizard towers. And to be fair, Sellia, Town of Sorcery, Rhea Lucaria, the wizard towers, they all seem to inspire each other in some capacity. It seems that a lot of sorcerers are linked in some capacity. Not saying that they're necessarily allied, but... Oh. I botched my jump because something was sliding off of something else in the real world, throwing off my attention. That's on me, though. What's this? Toxic mushroom! Yay! Just pick up the toxic mushroom and jam it in our pocket. No problem. But we'll take Torrent here, and we will jump to this here. And we find the Staff of Loss. So let's read its description. Staff missing its glintstone, wielded by sorcerers who believe that discovery comes through acts of asceticism. Asceticism. I think that's how it's said. This staff only distinguishes itself when casting invisibility sorceries, but that is the reason enough for some to wield it. And to be fair, if people get 2 of those suckers and they get some of the night sorceries, there's night shards that we will see in the future. They hit like a bus. They're really mean. Oh. Shucks. Thankfully, Lutel's here to bail me out of trouble as I try to fight a silly wizard on horseback. What a mistake. Alright, and over here we have another branch that lets us get access to the rooftops. And thanks to Torrent, this is relatively easy. And we even have a spare jump should we need it. Oh, this one has a bow, so we'll take care of him. And Lutel teleports about, meaning Lutel can just join us up cliffs and on stuff. So Lutel really is the pick for this area. I am curious to know if this great bow will hurt it enough. It does. Okay, double slash. So, Ash of War. Good pick. Work our way up this horrible rot branches, garbage nonsense. Never really liked platforming in Souls games, but Miyazaki wants you to platform. He really, really wants you to platform. Alright, here we can light the second one. We can hop down and... I think what we can do is we can jump over here and grab this, which is the Cerulean Tear Scarab. If I remember correctly, this is the scarab that buffs sorceries. I think, yes. Slightly, oh no, this one slightly increases the recovery effect from Flask of Cerulean Tears. The Glintstone Scarab is the one that slightly reduces the FP cost of sorceries, but increases damage taken. Okay. So, pretty good. The red one, because there is a red version of those same beetles, that one increases how much you heal from Crimson Flasks. That one's great in a pinch when you need one flask to go a little farther, so you put that on, and you put on a different talisman that also increases how much you get from flasks. And I think there's even a chest piece. Yeah, it's the Guardian Garb, but an altered version that has a bunch of roots growing out of your back. That one in particular also buffs how much you get from Cerulean Flasks, or sorry, not Cerulean, Crimson Flasks, the health potion. And so if you combine all of those really quickly, you could heal really well, and then you'll just swap back to your main getup so you don't get all the debuffs. Stone Sword Key. We already got the Scarab. So this is going to be our third torch to light. Candle Tower. And it's interesting that it seems... I guess it's more blue fire than white fire, so it's not ghost flame necessarily. Alright, so now we get to loot those 3 holes. There's a guy over there. Well, that might have been a little rude of me. Well, that just killed him. I was supposed to show off gravity well in this area by pulling something off of like a rooftop, but I forgot to do that. I did grab gravity well, rock sling. I don't think I even read the item description for that, so let me amend myself now. Oh, and rock blaster. Rock sling, one of the glintstone sorceries that manipulates gravitational forces, pulls a clump of rocks from the earth and sends them flying. This sorcery can be cast while in motion, a gravitational technique studied by the young Radon. His master was an alabaster lord with skin of stone. So it seems that the alabaster lords, and we fought a few of them, that one of them helped teach Radon. I wonder if he was actually the one that was in the Ever Jail behind Carrion Manor. That'd be unfortunate if that was him. Alright, so here's the first seal that we found. And here we find an imbued sword key, so we can unlock another part of the belfries. I think that's our 3rd one, so we can probably do the other 2 at any point now. That'll be for another episode. But I won't forget. We already used the one that came for free from the belfries in order to get the Stormhawk King Ashes and the Dean Ashes. Night Comet. So a sorcery that is a big shard, but nighttime flavored. And what that does is enemies that input, read, and dodge stuff, they won't know to dodge that one. So that's a very good pick, honestly. And because it hits so hard, if you're using the Staff of Loss, some people use 2 Staff of Loss, right? They'll get 1 in each hand. The Staves of Loss. And it'll buff the... Each one buffs the sorcery by 20%, and it might be multiplicative, not just additive. Meaning when you have both of them, you have 80 int or even 70 or something, and then you hit them with a night comet, it just melts them. It's a pretty good way to do high damage, and the nighttime sorcery is a little tough to see. And don't you know, because we did all those things, this back way is open. But don't worry, I know there's a boss around the other corner. I'm just grabbing this first. I'll try to show off Rock Sling on the boss, because I think Rock Sling... Oh, I can upgrade my flask. Rock Sling, I think, has enough of a delay that the enemies will dodge early. Yeah, we can leave it 7 and 4. That's fine for now. So I'll try to show off Rock Sling in the next fight, and we'll see how that goes. But over here to the side where we saw the tall seal is now a fog wall. So we will be doing this. Yeah. And don't worry, we'll bring Littell back because we like having help. I wonder if they were thrown off because I was hit during the thing. Wow. Did they know to dodge it partway through the swing? Oh, that didn't work for them. Ooh. Let me go. Wow, the frost just chunked that fellow. Or that lady. I think this is the fellow. The other one was the lady that we killed. So the swordstress and the monk. Oh, come on. Yeah, he knows to dodge it. It's not the most effective spell. If you want to really mess these fellows up, use sword sorceries. I don't think they input read dodge for these, because they're not projectiles. So we find the Nox, flowing sword, and a grace. So here's the Nox flowing sword. It is a shotel, I believe, inherently. A grim weapon wielded by swordsmen of the Eternal City. This shotel has a blade as fine as a needle. Forged from the liquid metal of a silver tear, it is thoroughly tempered until hardened. Alright. I think that's... might be one of our very first times meeting Nox anything. It might be our first time even seeing the word. Trying to remember now. Yeah, I think it is essentially our first time seeing the Nox in any capacity is here in the town of Sellia. Town of Sorcery. So here's the Ash of War. And I think that's it. It's just a big old slash. With a lot of end lag. And it doesn't follow up into anything else, which is kind of sad. Curved sword. Because it's a Shotel, it does like 40% of its damage through shields. Which is kind of nice. Dex weapon. It's okay. There's a different Nox weapon that's a hammer instead of a curved sword. I like that one infinitely more. Let's open this treasure chest. As I jump accidentally. Lucette's glintstone staff. So maybe finally, after all of our hunting, we finally find something that is worthy in all of our searches, right? So here we find Lucette's glintstone staff, and we see it has a massive wad of glintstone at the top there. It honestly looks like it's been eating away out of the orb it's resting in. And the orb looks like it has essentially been rusted away in favor of this. Almost like a crazy growing geode or something, right? And it takes 52 intelligence, so the highest spell requirement, I think, or highest int requirement we've seen for any item or spell. It might match a spell, actually. It might match... Yeah, Comet, right? But I don't think we found anything else that has a higher int requirement than that. Meteorite only takes 30? I should be showing that off. What's wrong with me? Now that I actually have access to it. Rock Sling. More like meteorite. There we go. And I think I can safely turn this one back into the Star Shower for now. Yeah, okay. So, meteorite looks like this. You summon a portal above your head that you can barely see, and it just keeps shooting as long as you have mana. As long as you have mana, it keeps shooting. Has initial cost, and then it keeps going. See? Pretty spread shot. Limited application. I'll try to hit an enemy with it a little later in this episode. But let's read the description for Lucette's glintstone staff. Staff of the primeval glintstone sorcerer Lucette. Only those who have glimpsed what lies beyond the wisdom of stone may wield it. So the wisdom of stone, thanks to the crystalline staff, we understand is 48 int, which is silly that there's like an actual cap for that. Enhances the power of all sorceries, but consumes additional FP. So it's a really powerful staff. It's got really good sorcery scaling if we can hit 52 int. And it's something we should probably shoot for at some point. If we get high enough int, it'll probably be our staff. If we hit high enough int and faith, there's a different staff I'd probably pick, because that one will have higher incantation scaling when we get around to it, or sorcery scaling. And it won't take bonus mana to cast spells. So that's the kind of the double-edged sword of the Lucette staff, is you can cast spells, and they do hit harder per spell, but they also cost more per spell. Lucette's staff seems to really shine when you are using smaller sorceries, like Swift Glintstone Shard, Carrion Slicer, the ones that don't take much mana, because that way when they are buffed to do more damage and have more cost, they only cost like 1 or 2 more points, and it's not a huge amount. Alright, so that skeleton there, I should have let him linger for a bit. He was holding a glaive that I've been holding on to for a while, and I can now show you. Weapon comprised of a sharp blade affixed to a long grip. It is, in fact, a sickle repurposed to be a tool of war, so it's a war scythe. This far-reaching weapon excels at slashing attacks. So it's interesting that they say it's a scythe repurposed for war, but to my knowledge, war scythes curve the other way for your slashing, because you're still using the inner blade, and this one looks like it's blunted on the inner curved side. So it's interesting that they say this was repurposed for war. So to my knowledge, war scythes are a scythe by a farmer because it's already a tool, a sharp implement that they own, and then they reposition the blade at the end of it, and it still curves forward a bit because it was a scythe. It doesn't have the blade on the wrong side like this thing has. And I can be wrong. This thing's closer to a glaive like they said. So interesting that they say it was a scythe. It's got some holes in it, a bunch of grime on it. It's a good weapon. If I remember, it's a quality-ish weapon. It might lean strength, but it has the overhead attack pattern for a halberd, right? And in fact, if you can angle the second and third attacks like so, or wait, no, it's probably the other way around, right? Ah, okay. I think I got it now. So for the second and third attacks, you turn to the right and then 45 degrees to the left, and that way you will get the second and third attacks to hit faster in the swing on your enemy. More useful in PvP, takes some messing with, if I recall. We will go back to the hammer because it is very helpful. Is there any others? I guess not. Oh, maybe. I missed, but he also missed, so I guess it's okay. Even though I'm just a strength boy, Sacred Blade doing work. Have Sacred Blade on something blunt. Make skeletons trivial no matter your build. I guess to be fair, the hammer's not useless. I'm still strength scaling with it, but... Oh, there's a big old boulder that will turn and try to knock us over. It even hit some skeletons. Okay, cool. That killed them both. So it seems that something's blocking our ascent here. Something wants us out of the way. I think there's one more orb. Yep, there it is. So, just go up to the side, make use of torrent. It'll miss and disappear. Thankfully. Just taking out all these skeletons. Don't really need to. I don't even think they're guarding an item. But that skeleton had a lot of health. There's quite a few of them here. If you're invading and you need some backup, this skeleton field can help you out. You might have to linger for a bit for them all to finish waking up, but they're here. And you have to confirm a kill on them, which means they could come back if they aren't finished off by the player. It's a lot of support. It could probably be enough to turn the fight in your favor. Why not? Okay. You'll open my list of notes again. Okay, so we're coming up on the Church of something. Don't think Gowri told us its name other than it is a church building. Oh, I think I need to start putting the staff in the other hand. Again. Just to deal with these pests. They just... I hate these things so much. They're just so mobile all the time. Ew, I do not want to die here. Not at all. There we go. And he drops another pestglaive that I do not need, but more Aeonian butterflies. If you go around the outer perimeter of this place, you can get a couple sacramental buds, which is nice. Honestly, you don't have to do this zone in the order I've been doing it so far. I would actually recommend that as soon as you get to the Bestial Sanctum, that you make a little trip downward. There's a Grace and a Wizard Tower here, and a Spirit Spring that'll get you up the cliff, and then you can come behind an Erd Tree, and there's another Spirit Spring that gets you up another cliff, and there's a Grace in front of a fort, and then you come down here to the Church of Plague, and you come down here so you can get not only the golden seed that's up by the Bestial Sanctum, but the sacred tear that is right in front of this America statue. And then you can grab all these sacramental buds, avoid the pests, get the Aeonian butterflies, but mostly the sacramental buds. And the reason why you want the sacramental buds is because they give you the option to make preserving boluses, which will help when you finally do come to Caelid for real. Dang it. Oh, come on. I hate these things so much. There we go. They're probably weak to fire, and I should probably be trying to do that. But I'm trying to get all these sacramental buds, and Millicent is breathing in my ear despite her distance and being through a wall. They really want you to talk to her, and I get it. They don't want you to miss it. You're not going to miss it. Not really. She seems pretty obvious to this place. She has a light by her. She's constantly wheezing in your ear from distances. In fact, I'm going to ignore her just a little longer because I can. Because I want to apply that flask upgrade that we got. Very nice. Okay. So now we are at 11 plus 8 flasks, which is pretty good. So let's chat with this lady now.
Who's there? Well, it matters not. If you are wise, you will leave immediately. My flesh writhes with scarlet rot. It is a curse. Not to be meddled with by man.
So we'll give her the unalloyed gold needle.
You ask that I stab myself with the needle to quell the scarlet rot. But how? Never mind. I've decided I would rather trust you than simply continue to spoil from within. Would you mind averting your eyes for a moment?
It seems she starts that thrusting motion into her chest, as if she's putting it directly into her sternum. Maybe she's just holding the needle close.
Well, that was easier than expected. But why do I feel so...
And she kind of goes quiet. Well, if we teleport again to the Church of the Plague, which is an easy way to reset the area, she'll be standing up and looking a lot better, and I think she's already using a different model than she was when she was laying down. Her face is a bit different. If you're curious about that, you can look up Friendly NPC Faces by Zoli the Witch on YouTube, and that YouTuber shows off a ton of faces of characters they may not otherwise see because they have helmets or masks or what have you. Or different variants along quest lines of the same character, which is kind of strange. But let's talk to her. And as you may have noticed earlier, she is definitely missing an arm, and the sleeve is tied off there. It looks really bloody, almost like she intentionally removed her arm in hopes of quelling the scarlet rot. But it seems it did not work.
I hoped to see you again. My apologies for when last we met. I fainted before I could even thank you. Everything is as you said. Since inserting the needle, the scarlet rot has ceased to writhe. Even the nightmares have abated. And now, though I can scarcely believe it myself, I can move as I please. Not that I could ever truly repay you, but I would like you to have this, by way of thanks. A token though it is.
So it seems that when we fought her as an invader, she had both of her arms. And now she's giving us the prosthesis wearer heirloom, and she is obviously missing an arm. It makes me wonder if the in-lore justification for her missing an arm is not because she cut it off due to the rot, though that seems like the most likely answer, and one I prefer, is she cut off the arm to get rid of the rot, or at least attempt to. Maybe she lost the arm in her fight with us. Now, if you come and visit Millicent and never fight her invader in the Aeonian Swamp, she would still be missing an arm, so that's a pretty flimsy explanation, so you can take whichever one you will. I'm going to stick with the one where it seems most likely that she removed the arm herself in the attempts to get rid of the rot. So she hands us this prosthesis wearer heirloom, and I will read its description in a moment.
I'm considering leaving. On a journey, with the needle buried in my flesh. I've started to recall, but dimly, my destiny. It's all thanks to you. My name is Millicent. I pray fate permits us meet again.
So in her dialogue, though it's subtle, she seems fond of us already. Maybe she's just grateful, but she seemed disappointed that she fainted before she could thank us, and now she seems to recall things, her memory's improving. And she seems to have a destiny that she's being pulled towards. And she has this very, very red hair And I think if I pull up the telescope, you will see that she has very, very yellow eyes. Gold eyes, honestly. Perhaps she's blessed by gold. It seems that she's not a tarnished like we are, though she is tarnished shaped. So let's chat with her one more time.
I'm considering with the needle buried my destiny.
Okay, so that's all she has to say for that. Let's read the prosthesis wearer heirloom item description. And it is a talisman engraved with a scene from a heroic tale, raises dexterity. Though born into the accursed rot, when the young girl encountered her mentor and his flowing blade, she gained wings of unparalleled strength, right? And so we have two figures there. Hard to make out presently, but the outfit of the character on the left becomes more readily apparent when we meet somebody much later on. But whenever we've seen descriptions of flowing blade and a mentor, I believe it's been in reference to, I'll find it, don't worry. Blue dancer charm. Let's see. A dancer in blue represents a fairy who in legend bestowed a flowing sword upon a blind swordsman. Blade in hand, the swordsman sealed away an ancient god, a god that was rot itself. And Millicent seems tied to this god of rot, according to the words of Gowri. Mentor in a flowing blade. Bestowed a flowing sword, flowing blade, flowing sword, right? And the blue dancer charm seems oddly reminiscent of the blue cowl set, right? It looks like the dancer charm, rather. The blue color of its fabric symbolizes brisk waters, as fluid and flowing as the sword in the hand of its wearer. Just as still waters turn foul, stagnation leads to decay, warriors must remain ever drifting. I don't think we get anything else from it. Not really, no. I don't think the scimitars say anything either. The scimitars were part of the warrior starting class, if I recall. The warrior having the two swords. Delivers slashing attacks with its sharp blade, but it's ineffective against thick armor and hide. Smaller in size than more curved swords, it carves into enemies with quick, sharp cuts. If you use two curved swords, the attacks are rather flowing. And you start with two of these bad boys, I believe, as the warrior. The Shamshir is a weapon that we have. Curved sword with a thin blade of ample length. Light of weight despite its larger size, its slicing attacks come in rapid succession, a devastatingly powerful weapon in the hand of a skilled swordsman. And sure enough, it has these flowing attacks. So it seems that flowing weapons are tied to swordsmen, and for some reason the swordsman has something to do with Millicent and a young girl who gained wings of unparalleled strength. There seems to be some link between Rot, Millicent, and the warrior class swordsman, honestly. Maybe they based their warrior caste and nomadic way of life, I don't even know they're nomads, but their way of life and swordsmanship off of the blind swordsman who is referenced in the Blue Dancer charm. It also seems interesting that it's the prosthesis wearer heirloom, and we know about the winged sword insignia, which the wings symbolize Melania and her undefeated prowess. Though she never knew relief from the accursed rot she was born into, her blade was forever beautiful and relentless. And another name for Melania we've seen is Melania the Severed. And of course, in the story trailer, we see that Melania has lost her arm. So perhaps this is depicting Melania and her mentor. And I believe if we look at the Aeonian butterfly. A butterfly with withered scarlet wings found in the swamp of Aeonia. According to myth, these butterflies were once the wings of the goddess of Rot herself. So I guess that kind of links all of those items together. So Melania seems to be in some way or another this goddess of Rot. Shucks, I didn't mean to angle these things. I didn't mean to backstab it, but here we are. guess we'll see what he has. Erdling flower. Okay, let's go say hi to Gowri and we'll end the episode there. Because Gowri promised us a reward, and that seems important now that we've helped Millicent along. Hopefully helping Millicent along was not a mistake. But her prosthesis heirloom seems to be a great link in this overarching story that we're getting together that you would have if you had either bought the set of the warrior in the Academy of Raya Lucaria or started as the warrior. So I just think that's so neat that your starting class can have a lot of lore to it. Not all of them, right? They're not all equal. We get here and Gowri's missing, but Millicent's here. So fascinating. Let's talk with her.
Oh, hello again. Something about this place felt familiar to me, so I decided to pay a visit. Hoping to find someone here, but I've only found emptiness. Perhaps, before my departure, I needed someone to say farewell to. Well, I must focus on my journey.
I didn't mean to press that so fast.
I have you to thank. I must stay strong. Well, never mind that. I must focus on my journey. I must...
Okay, so she said never mind that. But she doesn't want to say farewell to us, but she felt like she needed to say farewell to someone. And like she said before, she seems hopeful to see us again. Or she hoped she would see us again. And it seems that that wish is lasting in its duration. So what I like to do is while I'm standing here is I like to just quit to the main menu really fast. Get past the intro and hit continue and load the game again. Because that allows us to be in the same place and not do the run again. And don't you know, Millicent is gone and Gowri is here. And always creeps me out that his head follows us.
Thank you kindly for giving the needle to Millicent. Now she too can begin her journey and stare her fate straight in the eye. You've been a saint through and through. As thanks, I vow to impart to you my knowledge of the lost sorceries of the Sellians, descendants of the Eternal.
Okay, so Millicent paid a visit.
Oh, you noticed, did you? Indeed, Millicent did visit this hovel of a home. It seems the memories eaten away by the rotting sickness yet remain, but faintly. However, she has no need of me anymore. No, she must embark on her journey and stare her fate in the eye. I mustn't impede. As I've aged, I've found the best way to aid the young is to be forgotten.
So it seems that he's done this before, and to be fair, we've met the adopted daughter, Pollyanna, right? So it seems that Millicent is not alone in whatever scheme is going on here, and he believes that the best way to help the young, like Millicent or like Pollyanna, is to be forgotten by them, strangely enough. Meaning, his strange heretical wisdom is probably beyond our understanding, and it's a little unsettling, but now we can study sorcery under him. And he sells glintstone stars, which we already have, so there's a couple places you can get glintstone stars. But he also sells Night Shard, which is the smaller version of Night Comet, but still gets the bonus from the Staff of Loss. And he also sells Night Maiden's Mist. Now, Night Maiden's Mist is probably, without a doubt, the best early low-int sorcery you can get. It does a set amount of damage, and you can use it as low as 14 intelligence. Honestly, I think it's a good dip even if you don't plan to be a sorcerer. Just grab, well, I'll grab both of these in just a moment, but you do his quest, you get Night Maiden's Mist, and you always have access to this cloud you can disperse that does like 15 or 1600 damage over its duration. Charging it up increases the range of the cloud, and the cloud does affect your frame rate usually, which is kind of the unfortunate part, but if you're willing to put up with that, it's a great way to do damage to a crowd. It's a great way to flush out other players out of their hidey holes. It can burn people through walls. It's got a lot of uses, and it's relatively, well, 20 FP's not that cheap, but for how much damage it does, it's pretty cheap. So one of the night sorceries of Sellia, Town of Sorcery, swiftly fires a semi-invisible projectile. The sorcery can be used without delay after performing another action. The Sellian sorcerers were assassins, and it is said they often hunted their fellows. One of the night sorceries of Sellia, Town of Sorcery, releases a life-sapping silver mist before the caster, dealing damage to all caught within, including the caster. You can hurt yourself with this, so be careful. The sorcery can be cast while in motion. Below Sellia, the eternal city Necron sleeps. This sorcery originates from the maidens of that place. And we fought a Nox maiden. And a Nox monk, I believe. She might have been a sorceress, actually. Still, there's some tie-in there. And the city, if we click in the stick, sure enough, Necron is somewhere over here, as Blythe said. But we couldn't get to it yet, not until Radon is dealt with.
Please make certain that little Millicent goes unharmed. Like her mother, she has the stuff to be a great warrior.
Her mother?
But commands only one arm, and is yet preciously young.
So, does this mean that... Something strange coming here. He talks about how he's raised these daughters to a degree, or these young. Doesn't seem to... He doesn't feel too paternal. God, I can't speak. He doesn't feel too paternalistic over them. Yet, we've learned about Melania a bit, even though we've never seen her. We've seen the giant bloom that she left behind in her fight with Radon, right? Makes me wonder... That's got to be the place, right? It's the most craziest bloom of the fight. Commander O'Neill was there. He's staving off the rot. There's clean rots everywhere. That seems like the location where Radon and Melania had their clash. There's a needle, right? There was the needle that had ties to Mikola. But it's to stave off rot by design. So it makes me wonder, did Mikola give his sister, Melania, the needle to stave off the rot, and was it broken during the fight with Radon, and we're just here picking up the pieces, and we give it to Millicent? Kind of gross. That's unsanitary. Don't share needles. Don't share needles, folks. That's gross. So, a lot to tie in there. A lot to think about, a lot to consider. We're getting more and more pieces, and we're getting more of the story now. It's kind of where the biggest story beat kind of starts, is here. And we'll get a little more later, but that's exciting. Next time, though, we'll be going north of the Church of the Plague, and we will be there's a graveyard north of the Church of the Plague, and then we will be doing Dragon Barrow next time. And once we are done with Dragon Barrow, then we will make our way to Redmane Castle. Don't worry, there is a method to the madness, but I'm excited for that, and I'll see you all next time for episode 62, I believe. I could be wrong on that number, but thank you anyways, and bye-bye.